these are not just orcs. These are orcs in heavier armour. Hello. Hello, and in this video we're going to look at the Riftforged Orcs from the Clash of Kings 2022 book. Riftforged Orcs are on the very basics like orcs. They love to fight and they're green. Other than that, they've got a bit more to them. They're sort of twisted more, but more on the inside twisted. They're a bit taller, they stand more upright, they're a bit more tactical in the sense of that they don't go for the there's an enemy, let's kill it kind of tactics. It's a case of there's an enemy, how do we kill it to make sure less of our stuff dies. They have a rivalry. Well, that's a bit of a, I'll start again. Hello! In this video, we're looking at the Riftforged Orcs from Clash of Kings 2022. The Riftforged Orcs are only like the Orcs in the sense of they love to fight and they're green. Other than that, they're a bit more upright physically. They wear more ornate armour. They're more about the lightning and the thunder, literally. And they look a lot more trained and enhanced. You could draw parallels to Dead Zone Marauders in the sense that a lot of them were trained by other forces, in their case humans. In this case they were mutated internally, as it were, and some of the big stuff externally, by the gods and such like. And it was, there's more on how they became to be in the Clash Kings book, and where it more began and how the campaign started in the Happy's Rift campaign book, which I've already done a video about. I'll put it below. So, starting with the army special rules, they are evil. You will need to be on page 56 of the Clash Kings book, and you'll need to be on page 381 of the big rule book, because the Riftforged Orcs, you see, are a themed list. They are evil, as orcs tend to be, even though they've got a bit of a thing against the Abyss. Special rule, Storm Strike. Any natural rolls of 6 are resolved with the Blast 2 special rule. This effect does not work if the unit needs more than 6 to hit. This isn't bad, but I've only seen 2 units in the list that have got this. Yeah, I don't get what the point of it is if you're not going to make it a bit more universal. Am I missing something? Maybe. So, starting with the heavy infantry, we've got the Unforged Orcs. Speed of 5, melee of 4, defense of 4, no range stat. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 115 points. Horde 25 attacks, nerve 20, 22, 190 points. They've got crush strength 1. They're somewhat cheap, which is pretty decent for what they are. In fairness, hits on 4s with crush strength 1. That's not too bad at all. They are basically like the Morax, except they don't hit as hard. Well, they don't hit as accurately, and they don't have the wild charge on them. And they're not fearless, so you can waver them. You can't take a a horde of Morax, but you can take a horde of Unforged Orcs. So swings and roundabouts. A regiment of Unforged Orcs isn't that great, honestly, but 415 points, that's nothing really. Next we have the Riftforged Legionnaires. Speed of 5, melee of 3, defense of 5, no range stat. Troop 10 attacks, nerve 10, 12, 100 points. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 14, 16, 150 points. Horde 25 attacks, nerve 21, 23, 250 points. Crushing strength 1. So these are basically really elite orcs. They know what they're doing and they will just pummel things to dust. They hit on 3s, they've got crush strength 1, they've got they've got the best nerve of the basic heavy infantry. They are expensive, but considering what they can do, that's kind of the point. I won't take a troop of them because, well, it's a bit too weak, I find. A regiment, I can see the point of, because the nerve is pretty decent. A horde of them is going to be really good, but it's going to be expensive. 250 points. But they will get the job done. Next we have the Reborn Legionnaires. They are irregular. Speed 5, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. Troop 10 attacks, nerve 11, 13, 120 points. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 15, 17, 185 points. Crush strength 2 and inspiring. I can see why they're irregular, and I can see why they're expensive. A regiment has got fantastic nerve, they've got crush strength 2, so they are going to cause a bit of a problem. Plus they've got inspiring on the unit, so you've got that there. They can help with nerve tests, so there's that one. Yeah, that is pretty decent. Yeah, but like I said, they are expensive, so that is their main downside. And they're irregular, so you can't just take lots of them. Although I wouldn't take a troop. Would you take a troop of them? I suppose to have cheap inspiring and cheap outflanking, maybe. Maybe for a troop of these, only because crush strength 2 could make a fair bit of difference. I'd go for a regiment of these if I'd have to pick. Next we have the Rift Walkers, and they are also irregular. Speed 7, melee 4, defense 5, no range stat. Troop 10 attacks, nerve dash 12, 120 points. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve dash 16, 185 points. Crush strength 1, fly, nimble and strider. Flying orcs, essentially. Basically flying orcs. Yeah, pretty decent. I'd maybe take a troop of these, only because considering the actual base size of them, having these fly over, it's going to cause a bit of a problem later on, you'll find. Other than that though, they're fearless, so they can't be wavered. That's good. Their melee isn't as good as the Reborn Legionnaires or the Riftforged Legionnaires, but you know, they can still do things. They've got flying nimble, so you've got some manoeuvrability. And at speed of 7, so that's charge range of 40. Nothing to sniff about that, really, is it? Next we have the Morax. Speed of 5, melee of 3, defense of 4, no range stat. Troop 15 attacks, nerve dash 11, 115 points. Regiment 20 attacks, nerve dash 15, 175 points. Crush strength 1, wild charge D3. I'm assuming you can't take an Orcish skull pole because they're being in this themed list, not from the normal Orc book. Orc list, sorry. Morax have got plenty of attacks. They're fairly cheap for what they are. Hits on 3s, but the defense of 4 is the downside. They can potentially be pretty quick with a charge range from 11 inch to 13 inch, so that's not bad. Or actually, all of them have their uses. The regiment of Morax is fairly cheap, but their defense is a bit low. The Unforged Orcs is even cheaper. So, do you want really cheap orcs, or do you want slightly less cheap orcs? It's really up to you. The Riftforged Legionnaires are expensive, but they're really good. The Reborn Legionnaires are expensive for what they are, but they can give inspiring, and they've got crush strength too. And the Riftwalkers can really do good outflanking manoeuvres. Next you have the Ranged Infantry, and they are the Skulks. They are irregular. Speed of 5, melee of 5, range of 5, defense of 3. Troop 8 attacks, nerve 911, 85 points. Regiment 10 attacks, nerve 1315, 110 points. Got crush strength 1 and scout. They've got short bows that have got 18-inch range and steady aim. You can upgrade them to Skulk Raiders, which gain Pathfinder, increasing melee value to 4+, for 15 points for a troop, 20 points for a regiment. I wouldn't do that. It seems a waste of points, considering, I mean, you can move and shoot without penalty. Yeah, there's that, I guess. But let's be honest. Is it really all that good on a unit that's not really that good shooting? Not that good range. They're just a waste of points. Next we have the Cavalry, starting with the Tundra Wolves, which are regular. Speed of 9, melee of 3, defense of 4, no range stat. Troop 9 attacks, nerve 1012, 115 points. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 1315, 180 points. Nimble, thunderous charge 1. They're fairly cheap, hit on 3s, which is nice. They hide too, so you can hide them behind stuff, and then if you're able to outflank them and move them around, because with a speed of 9 and nimble, you've got a bit of mobility there. Plus with thunderous charge 1, at least you've got that going for you. They're not going to last too long once you've hurt 1 or 2 units, I want to thought, but while they're still there, make the most of them. Don't use them as a straight up charging unit, have them for outflanking. That's what I'd do with them. Next we have the Gore Riders. Speed 8, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. Troop 8 attacks, nerve 1012, 125 points. Regiment 16 attacks, nerve 1315, 190 points. Crush strength 1, thunderous charge 1. That's not bad. They're fairly decent and fairly cheap for what they are. Hitting on 3s, defense of 5. It's pretty decent. Thunderous charge 1 might seem a bit weak compared to most heavy cavalry, but at least they've got crush strength 1, which when the thunderous charge lets them down, at least they've got crushing strength to back them up. So with a speed of 8, I think they're worth giving a go at. I don't think they're too bad at all. Next we have the Swarm. They are the Orclings. They are regular. Speed of 5, melee of 5, defense of 3. No range stat. Regiment 12 attacks, nerve 1012, 60 points. Horde 24 attacks, nerve 1315, 100 points. Upgrade to Whips Playmates 1. Horde only, gaining Fury, Vicious in melee, and Wild Charge D3 for 15 points. I'd take a Horde just for that upgrade, I suppose. Other than that, they're cheap. They're a cheap harassment unit, that's all they're there for. I've not seen many armies take them, although they're there for flavour. If I did Orcs, I'd probably give them a go, just because, I guess, just because. Next we have the Chariots. There's only one. It is the Fight Wagon. It is not a regular. It is in the main book, but is not for this list. Aha. Speed 7, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. Troop 12 attacks, nerve dash 13, 155 points. Regiment 18 attacks, nerve dash 15. Next we have the Chariots. It is the Fight Wagons. Speed 7, melee 3 plus defense 5, no range stat. Troop 12 attacks, nerve dash 13, 155 points. Regiment 18 attacks, nerve dash 15, 195 points. Horde 24 attacks, nerve dash 17, 245 points. Legion 30 attacks, nerve dash 20, 285 points. Crush strength 1. I won't go for a troop. I feel it's a bit lower on attacks, even though it's not bad. I'd start with a regiment and then think about from there, because 18 attacks is pretty decent, hitting on 3s with crush strength 1. It's not bad at all. But a legion will be big base size wise, but with 30 attacks, whew, it's gonna hurt. Let's face it, it's really gonna hurt. Your main downside is that your nerves are a little bit low, but you've got defensive 5, so you can take a bit of battering, and you're fearless as well, which is always a good sign. Speed of 7, so you've got a bit of mobility, but I'd use the Tundra Wolves and Gore Riders for outflanking purposes, and maybe use the Gore Riders to punch in first and then follow up with the fight wagons. If it were me, that's probably how I'd do it. Or use maybe a cheaper unit to keep something pinned down for maybe a turn. Then the fight wagons can come steamrolling in and potentially kill what they're going up against. Potentially. Next we have the large cavalry. They are the Hell Strikers. They are basically orcs in heavy armour mounted on manticores, which are bodies of lion, scorpion tails and wings. If that's not awesome, I don't know what is. So, speed 10, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. Regiment 9 attacks, nerve 12, 14, 160 points. Horde 18 attacks, nerve 15, 17, 265 points. Brutal, crush strength 1, fly, leech life 1, thunderous charge 1. They are just really powerful. They're fast. They haven't got nimble, but they have got brutal, so that makes up for it somewhat. They've got crush strength 1 and thunderous charge 1, and they will potentially cause some damage, so they'll get a bit of health back, take a few wounds off with leech life, which is always helpful. They are expensive, so you've got to be careful. I would go for a horde. I would just hoard these out. Regiment seems alright, but the nerve is a little bit low. Also, because of they're on 50mm basis, you've got to be careful because they're going to be easy to outflank. Just be careful of that. They have got fly. They just they do sort of have nimble, but just be careful. Next we have the Titans, starting with the Storm Giant. Speed 7, melee 4, defense 5, no range stat. Attacks d6 plus 8, nerve 18, 20, 240 points. Brutal, cloak of death, crush strength 4, slayer, melee plus d6, and strider. And it's got wind blast 6. So what slayer does, because this has never come up yet, you will find Slayer on page in the Clash of Kings book on page, give me a second, 62. What it does is, when attacking an enemy unit with large infantry, monstrous infantry, large cavalry, monster or titan unit types, a unit with this special rule gains an additional attack to its profile until the end of the turn. So essentially, if it's attacking anything monstrous or big, you get in an extra d6 attacks. So on the Storm Giant, so it's minimum of 9 attacks, maximum 14, and if it's against, say, a rival unit of Hell Strikers, for example, because they're large cavalry, you get an extra d6. So minimum of 10 attacks, maximum of 20 attacks. Wow. Jeez. I mean, even if you don't take that into account, it's evil as it is. It's not that expensive either, if I'm completely honest. It can be wavered, yes, but it's got brutal and cloak of death, which can really affect enemies greatly. And even with 9 attacks with crush strength 4, there's so many things that's just gonna be hurt by that. Mostly at the time, you're gonna need twos to wound something. Yeah, it's all sorts of powerful, isn't it? Next we have the Storm Forged Shrine. Can only have one of these. Spellcaster rank 1. It's unique, that's why I can only have one. Speed of 5, melee of 4, defense of 5. 8 attacks, nerve, dash 17, 240 points. Aura, Fury, Crush Strength 1, Inspiring. Anvil of the Rift. After successfully casting Banechant or Host Shadow Beast, which is a new spell, the Stormforged Shrine may choose to cast either spell again with 1 less dice on another appropriate Riftforged unit within 12 inch, regardless of line of sight. This may continue until casting is failed. No unit may be targeted twice with the same spell. Power of the Rift. For each other friendly core Riftforged unit within 6 inch, increase the amount of dice rolled with Banechant, Host Shadow Beast, Lightning Bolt by 1 to a maximum bonus of +3. So it's got Banechant 1, Host Shadow Beast 4 and Lightning Bolt 3. And you can have a base size larger than 75mm because that will be cheating for some of the rule purposes. So the power of the wrist affects core Riftforged units, so that would be the Legionnaires, of both Reborn and Riftforged type, the Riftwalkers, the Hellstrikers, the Storm Giant, the Thunder Seers, the Storm Slayer, the will it affect all heroes? Yes, it affects all heroes apart from the Flagger. So yeah, that's going to be really useful actually. It's kind of like the Orc War Drum, I think, if memory serves me correctly. Kind of like that, yeah. Oh no, God Speaker, not War Drum. It's kind of like the God Speaker, but a lot more expensive. 8 attacks, with Crush Strength 1, and their Aura of Fury, so units nearby can even do counter charges even if they're wavering. That's not bad at all, is it? If you want cheap-ish Reforged, maybe take some Reborn Legionnaires, perhaps. Troop of Reforged Legionnaires, 100 points. Why not? You know, give them that option, I guess. And it also will be effective for the Anvil of the Rift rule. You're gonna have to need a lot of Riftforged stuff for this rule to, well, them rules to work, but because most of the stuff in this list is Riftforged, it's not really much of a problem. No model for it yet, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Can't wait. Next we have the monstrous infantry. They are the Thunder Seers. Speed 6, melee 4, defense 5, no range stat. Regiment 15 attacks, nerve 12, 14, 135 points. Horde 30 attacks, Jesus. Nerve 15, 17, 225 points. Crush Strength 1, Pathfinder and Spell Ward, which if spells are cast on them by friendly or enemy, it's -1 to actually hit them, so be careful. Yeah, Banechant's not going to be much use on these. Neither is Fireball, so those Ifrits, bugger off. Can take Visions of the Wrist, may take up to 2 of these for 10 points. Oh no, it works twice for 10 points. It's worded a little weirdly, I find. After deployment and all scout moves have been completed by both players before rolling for first turn, this unit may be picked up and redeployed anywhere in the controlling player's deployment zone. That's They've got a lot of attacks. Their nerve is not bad. Their defense is 5, and they can be moved after scout and deployment. They're not that expensive considering what they can do. Yeah, the only real downside to them, as far as I can see, is that they're a little bit expensive, and they hit on 4s, so there can become some penalties depending on what happens that can really hurt them. Other than that, they're pretty decent. Next we have the monsters, starting with the Storm Slayer. Speed 7, melee 3, defense 4, no range stat. 8 attacks, nerve, dash 14, 130 points. Crush strength 2 and nimble. It's just a big monster that runs around and hits things. Defense is a little bit low. Considering it's got the keyword troll, I thought it'd have regeneration, but fine, whatever. 130 points for a big thing that with crush strength 2. The hits on 3s, that's nothing really, is it? Nerve is a little bit low, which is a shame, but considering what it is, you're not really paying much for it, let's be honest. I mean, it's similar points cost to most troops, and the base is going to be smaller, ain't it? So 10 to 12 attacks from most troop for anything between 100 to 120 odd points. It's negligible. I'd consider it. Next we have the Ambarox. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ambarox. I think that's right. Speed 5, melee 4, range 4, defensive 4. 3 attacks, nerve 10, 12, 115 points. It's got nimble. It's got energy blast, which is 24-inch range, blast D3, piercing 1, steady aim. This is basically a mobile war machine for the Riftforged Orcs. Sorry. 24-inch range usually is a bit naff for a war machine, but you can move and shoot, so you've got some options with it. Plus, you've got steady aim, so you hit on 4s if you move and shoot, which is nice. 3 attacks with blast D3, so minimum hits you get is 1, maximum hits you get is 9 with piercing 1. That is going to hurt a fair bit. Yeah, 9. That can potentially be really, really powerful. That being said, though, if it does get into combat, it is going to be squished so easily. The model looks nice from what I've seen, but just keep it out of combat and keep some other units nearby to take the charge. I'd love to see an Ambernox work. Put in the comments below if you get one or if you convert one and whatnot, and tell me how they do. Next we have the heroes, starting with the Stormbringer, heavy infantry hero. Speed 5, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. 5 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 100 points. Crush strength 2, individual, inspiring, mighty. Upgraded with the mount, increasing speed to 8 and changing to hero cavalry for 35 points. Storm strike, someone's got it. Storm strike for 10 points. You need 6s for it to work. It's 10 points wasted, I feel. Not bad. He is expensive. He is a fair bit expensive. But a lot of heroes like that are, I guess. Got crush strength 2. At least you've got that on it. There's a lot of competition, I feel. Maybe I'd say on that. Next you have the Stormcaller, heavy infantry hero, spellcaster rank 2. Speed 5, melee 4, defense 5, no range stat. 1 attack, nerve 11, 13, 85 points. Crush strength 1, individual, lightning bolt 4. Here's the spells it comes with. Upgraded with a mount, increasing speed 8 and changing hero cavalry for 25 points. You can take icy breath 8 for 25 points, or 3 if it replaces a lightning bolt. I can't see the point because lightning bolt's pretty decent. Bane Chant 2 for 20 points. Blizzard 3, can only have 1 of them for 40 points. And Veil of Shadow 3, can only have 1 of them for 30 points. I definitely consider the Bane Chant because Bane Chant's awesome. But then again, how many points is the Shrine? I think it's 200 odd, ain't it? 240, okay, so essentially 3 Stormcallers for one Stormforged Shrine. Can only have one of them though. So, it's not bad spellcaster, though. Do be careful because the you can't use it on the Thunder Seers as they've got Spell Ward. So just be careful there. Other than that, Lightning Bolt's not bad, but Icy Breath I suppose slows enemies down a little bit, and so does Blizzard somewhat. Veil Shadow's not a bad spell, I guess. Yeah, it's not bad spellcaster. At least it's got defensive capabilities. That's why it's a bit expensive, I feel. Take them if you want. Model looks nice. Riftforger, heavy infantry hero, spellcaster rank 0. Speed 5, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. 3 attacks, nerve, 10, 12, 50 points. Crush strength 2, individual, arcane smithy. This unit may cast their Bane Chant or host Shadow Beast spell while engaged with a enemy unit. If they do so, the Riftforger may only target themselves or another qualifying friendly core unit engaged with the same enemy unit as the Riftforger, regardless of line of sight. That's. I can kind of see why you do that. It's a cheaper version of the Stormcaller, I guess. What upgrades can we have? Amount, increasing speed to 8 and changing to hero cavalry for 25 points. Bane Chant 2 for 25 points. Host Shadow Beast 6 for 25 points. Storm Strike, which I don't know why you take that, for 10 points. So what, 75 points to our Bane Chant 2 or 105 points? It's about 30 points different. Yeesh. If you want to get some Bane Chanting out there, this is the cheapest way to go. Apart from that, Host Shadow Beast, I can kind of see a point for. Be interesting to try it because it's fairly new. Storm Strike, I really can't see the point in why you go for it on the Riftforger. I suppose the Arcane Smithy can be useful, but it's going to be situational. Also, why the hell would you get this guy in combat? Ever? Just tell me that. Why? Next we have the Stormbringer on Winged Slasher, Titan Hero. Speed 10, melee 3, range 4, defense 5. 10 attacks, nerve 17, 19, 295 points. Crush strength 3, fly, fury, inspiring, nimble, storm breath, which is 12 inch range, steady aim. It's an armoured orc on a dragon, or anything similar. It's pretty decent. It's got fury, which not a lot of them have, which is great when it gets wavered, because it most certainly will, because it's a big target. Something's going to go up against it and it's just going to attract bullet fire like nobody's business. It's not got very inspiring. Okay. Slightly expensive for what it is, but it's an orc on the dragon. It's gonna do really well until it dies, because it's fairly big. Your opponent's gonna know it's there and gonna try and take it down as quick as possible. That's why I use it to get in there and take the firepower and the attacks while everything else goes off around it, essentially. That's what I'd do. Next we have the Stormbringer on Hellstrike Manticore. Large cavalry hero. Speed 10, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. 5 attacks, nerve 13, 15, 160 points. Brutal, crush strength 2, fly, inspiring, leech life 1, and nimble. It's not bad. It's an expensive hero for what it is, but it's just basically a Stormbringer on a Manticore. Oh, Stormbringers. Yeah, okay, fine. It's a nice model. I'm pretty sure you can buy one, or they put one up for pre-order. They've definitely showed the greys for it. I'm definitely sure they have, but it does look really nice. So give it a go. I wouldn't normally go for them sort of heroes, but the model looks really nice. Finally, we have the Flagger, heavy infantry hero. Speed 5, defense 4, melee 4, no range stat. 1 attack, nerve 911, 50 points. Crush strength 1, individual and inspiring. Mount on a gore, increasing speed to 8 and changing hero cavalry for 25 points. If you want cheap inspiring, that's the way to go. Other than that, there's not really any much point in taking it. At least it's got crush strength 1 and hits and 4s in melee. At least it's got that with its 1 attack. Next we have the unique units, starting with Vohdler. Vohdler. No idea. Monstrous infantry hero. Speed 6, melee 3, defense 6, no range stat. 7 attacks, nerve, dash 15, 190 points. Crush strength 2, inspiring, nimble, pathfinder and spell ward. It's got visions of the rift, which the thunder seers have. It's also got grand seer. If you take Von Deer, I think that's how you pronounce it, then you can have as many of the visions from the rift rules as you want on your thunder seers. So you can have more than 2 units taking it, which is nice. You could just have a army of thunder seers. Right, hang on, let me think about this. This is just going to be cruel. So hang on, you have him, and you just have thunder seers, which is going to be expensive army, but it's going to be interesting. You've put all your stuff down, your opponents put all their stuff down, they've done all their scout moves, and then I'll just rearrange my units so I can attack what I want. That's going to be a bit cheeky. Unless you're taking a fair few thunder seers, I can't see much point. Well, I know I can see a point in taking him, because at least he's got it, so you can move him around as well. So, and he's got 7 attacks, hitting on 3s with crush strength 2, defensive 6. That's tasty. That's very tasty. Next we have Vonar, I think that's how you pronounce it. Cavalry hero. Speed 8, melee 3, defense 5, no range stat. 6 attacks, nerve 14, 16, 170 points. Crush strength 2, individual, inspiring, mighty, storm strike, and thunderstruck, which does. Thornard's storm strike ability triggers on rolls of 5+. In addition, if an enemy is damaged by Thorny's storm strike attack, the enemy suffers -1 to hit rolls during its next turn, which ain't bad at all. And that can be really good. You just have to combo it right. You get Thornar in combat, and then next turn flank stuff around. That's going to be really, really nasty. You could have him going up against practically anything, and that'd be really helpful. Plus the storm strike hits on 5s, which is a bit better than hitting on 6, let's face it. What else has he got? Speed 8, hitting on 3s with crush strength 2, which, nothing wrong with that. His attacks are a bit low, but I think is expensive what it is, because hits on 3s and that thunderstruck rule. It's not bad nerve wise for what it is, but he is a bit expensive. I can see why you'd take him. I really can. They hit really hard and they're fairly expensive for what they are, which is being good defense. Nothing really hits on less than a 4. Most things hits on 3s or 4s, apart from the skulks, really. Their heroes are generally pretty decent, but again a bit expensive. Their spell casting capabilities are alright, although their shrine can really do some really good support options depending on how you use it. And that's the thing with a lot of the supporting units here. It's how you use them, how it's most effective. The supporting units are usually geared to helping certain units out, or such as the Tundra Wolves, there for outflanking purposes. So the Riftforged Orcs then. They hit really hard and they're fairly decent defence. But they are expensive. Though they have some good outflanking units to back it up, and their spellcasting support capabilities are pretty good. Their unique units are also fairly decent, but you're going to have to know how to take them. They're there to assist units, and I can see why you take these other, because a lot of unique units are a bit but these, I can see why you take them. It's just how you use them to be most effective. The Thunder Seers are really good, but they are a bit expensive. A little bit expensive, I'd say, but considering what they can do, you can just move them where you want after everything's deployed. That's insane. The Hell Strikers are really good, and the models look really good. The Amber Nox, I think it is. That's not a bad mobile war machine. It's a bit short range, but considering what it does or potentially can do, yeah, I can see why. The Storm Giant, I'd love to see what that's going to look like, because man, come on Mantic, we're going to have to see what that looks like. Their range capabilities are a bit weak. Not that they haven't gotten it, it's just, it's not what they're there for. They're there to get stuck in hard and stuck in for a fair long time, because most have got defences of either 4s or 5s, so it's going to take them a little bit to get through them. So that's it for now. Goodbye.